it's Janet Wakeland here with Remarkably Created, and we are going to make a template for another fun fold. This is a go-to layout that I use very often on my cards and my card making. So let's go right ahead and let's switch this camera around and we're going to get into it. What I'm going to be working with is I have 2 sheets of Whisper White or basic white cardstock, a trimmer, and a bone folder. And the reason why we have 2 sheets is just so that you can make 2 variations of it. Something else that might be handy is to have a marker handy. What we are working on is building you a library of templates so that you have a resource for all kinds of fun folds and different types of layouts to add variety to your handmade cards, your card making. So let's start first with the first one. This is 8.5 by 11. And again, I'm just using a neutral cardstock. I like to use either white vanilla or crumb cake for my templates when I'm making templates. Just makes it easier to write and see. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half. So that means we're going to put it at the 5.5 mark. And we're just going to cut it in half, okay? Then we're going to take one of the halves and we're going to cut that in half. So that means we're going to put it at the 4.25 mark and cut it. So what we have here is a piece that is 4.25 by 5.5, and I'm working in inches here in the US. So I have this piece here, okay? And you'll have another piece. You could actually get 2 cards if you want to. I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to cut it at 2 3/4. Now, this is not set in stone, and you'll understand that in just a minute. But what I'm showing you at the moment is how to get 2 cards out of 1 piece of paper. So in this instance, again, I cut it at 2 3/4. You can choose to do this at 2.5, 3 inches, 3.5. When I show you samples in just a few minutes, you're going to understand that. Now you could score this, or you can simply cheat and just fold it in half. Grab your bone folder for that nice crease. And we're going to grab our adhesive. So what we've done is we fold it in half. When we open it up, on this bottom side, we've put some adhesive. And now we're going to lay that, so that's on the back of the card. And that's your first template right there. That is actually your entire card. And again, just like the 2 3/4 inch is not set in stone, where you place it is also not set in stone. You can kind of move it over to the left and justify it a little bit. You can center it. You could move it a little bit to the right. And again, when I show you the variations in a minute, you'll understand that. So I mean, that's as simple as it gets, guys. So then the other variation of that card, let's grab our paper in here again. And in this case, we're going to cut our paper lengthwise. We have the 8.5 across the top and the 11 inches going long ways. So because we're cutting the 8.5 in half, that means that we're putting it at the 4.25 mark. And again, in this case, we're going to cut this and we end up with 2 bases. The reason why, I mean, these bases match these bases, right? But I wanted this long piece here. That's the piece I wanted to be left with. So let's just go ahead and again, 4.25 by 5.5 inches. And again, this could be the base for another card, or you can use that for die cuts and your greetings and things like that. And then again, we're going to go ahead and, so in this case, it's going to be narrow. It's going to be 2 1/4. Because again, we're just cutting it in half. It's a 4.5 piece that we're just going to go ahead and cut in half. So it's 2.5 inches by 11 inches. And again, that's not set in stone. That's only if you want to make 2 cards from 1 piece of paper. Again, you could make it even more narrow. You can make it wider. It's going to be totally up to you. One of the reasons why I like to use this fold is because I tend to have a lot of 1/4 sheet scraps. as well as then I tend to have long strips of cardstock laying around. And so this gives me a chance to use up those scraps, because we all know that having all of those scraps on hand can just be like an organizational nightmare, trying to find something to do with all of them, right? So that's it, guys. That is the basics. Here you've got the horizontal view, okay, with your flap. The flap goes down the back, and it is sturdy, fits in that A2 envelope. And here we have it going portrait. So nice and easy. And then what I've been doing, I showed you my storage system in the last video, is I've just been putting them down in a little clear bag and filing them in my storage system. So now let's take a look at some fun ideas using this concept. Here we have our fun Yeti bundle. Got a little bit of our fun twine, some winter wishes, and there's that fold. Okay, that's that one. It's just that quarter sheet. And in this case, you can see that it's a lot wider than 2.5, because I wanted to add some designer paper and have that edge. So we have our Yeti in the portrait. Then another one that's in portrait, in this case here, little contrast with some designer paper. This is Fresh Cuts. We've got a little stenciling happening behind it, what's new, and just lots of fun layers there on the front. So there's another one. Again, this is 4¼ by 5.5, and this is 11 inches long, and the width that you make it is up to you. The little piece that you add inside is just cut to hide behind. So if this is 3 inches, it would be maybe 2 3/4. If this is 3.5, it might be 3 inches, if that makes sense. So let's see if we have another one. Here's one more. This one you've seen in a previous video. Uses the sweet little wagon from our Birthday Piggies bundle. We've got some of our pumpkins from the Rustic Harvest. Little kitty there from the Warm Welcome. And we've got a nice fall card. So those are our vertical versions of that, and I'll bring them back into screen in just a moment. So then the other option was to do horizontal, okay, going side to side. And in this case, you can see that I moved the flap over to the left-hand side. We left justified it, and using that really beautiful apple bundle. And then You Are Such a Blessing. And we've got our greeting, and we've got our plaid paper. So there, and then we put a little bit of, I don't know if you can see it, but we kind of glossed up the apples just a little bit with our enamel elements that we have. Oops, I forgot. Well, we'll do this one first, and then we'll bring our other horizontal one in, because it's kind of over the top card. So in this case, just another variation, I die cut through the flap so that you could see the tree underneath. So there's so many possibilities with this. You don't have to have all of your elements on the front. You can just simply create an opening and then have that underneath, and then your peace and joy. So there's another horizontal. And then one more for you. Oops, this is the one. Actually, I've got a couple more for you. Sorry about that. This is from my mice class. This is one of the ones that those who purchase the mice kit are making in the mice class. Very simple, clean, just gold on white. Very fun, simple holiday card. And you've got the mice paper, and then we've got some of the fun paper that was from Celebration. So a horizontal one there. And then here's our crazy over-the-top little birthday piggies, or thinking of you piggies, or what other celebration that you want to have with the little piggies. And we kind of just really went and dressed them up. And what I did for the background of this one is I used 3 pieces of designer paper that I've been wanting to use together to have a mashup of. So these are all from the Très Chic. And then I added edging, in this case, on the flap with our pretty gold paper, okay? And then the elements here and the little piggy are from that piggy bundle. And then I created a stencil with that die so that I could work with it. So again, guys, very simple, very easy flap cards. And again, horizontal or vertical, lots and lots of possibilities. They're a great way to use up your cardstock. And if you'll notice, I did use the like white on white, but this strip here, your flap piece, could also be a contrasting piece of cardstock. It doesn't have to be, you know, vanilla on vanilla, white on white, crumb cake on crumb cake. You can go ahead and use whatever you've got for a base laying around, and then whatever you've got strip-wise to cut down. Because again, this is one of my go-to layouts because I do tend to have a lot of quarter sheets of cardstock and a lot of strip papers in my studio. So quick shout out to Stephanie Anderson. Stephanie Anderson was our winner from last week's layout. She shared some amazing fall ideas with the template that we provided last week. So for all of you who are watching this video, if you take and give this layout a try, I'm going to ask that you post your sample right here on the video below as comments. I'll look for those, and then we will announce winners based on those that are submitted below within the next week. So thank you guys for hopping on right now. I had fun sharing with you, and I'll see you next week for a really fun new fold as well. Thanks, guys.